Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Sure does. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is February 16th.
Yes, happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. We hope you had a good week, a good Valentine's week in general. And yeah, we started with rain and then we expect cold and then maybe later on some sunshine.
Outside with live cam, lots of clouds out there. Yeah, everybody we talked to in our weather department, Justin, says the weather is going to be all over the place.
Yeah, it truly is. So we're going to get a little bit of everything. We've got a cold front headed our way tonight. In the meantime, some light rain. If you were out early this morning here in San Antonio, maybe you encountered some of this very light stuff. It really has not made a big impact on us here in San Antonio. But folks to the south and east certainly are seeing some welcome rain. Let me show you the radar right now. There's a strip of moderate rain from roughly Cuero to Kennedy down to I-37. Notice, though, that most of this light stuff is moving out of San Antonio. Not to say we couldn't see a few sprinkles, but it's just not going to have big impacts, as I said. A little closer look at that more moderate rain. Karnes City, Yorktown, down to Three Rivers. Rain's going to be a little heavier. At last check, we picked up about 0.3 of an inch there in Karnes City, and that's the most I've seen as far as rainfall accumulations so far this morning. We'll add to that a little bit more, maybe up to 0.5 inch in those areas, but certainly not here in San Antonio. So now we turn our attention to tonight's cold front. It will be here by about 8 to 10 o'clock roughly here in San Antonio. What you can expect of that, gusts to 35 starting tonight and continuing through Saturday morning. That means tomorrow morning is going to be blustery and cold, wind chills in the 30s. There is a small rain chance with this front, but it's brief and only 20%. So we're not going to worry too much about rain. As I said, that is beginning to move to our south and east and away from San Antonio. So now the weekend forecast. Windy tomorrow. We talked about that wind chill values being in the 30s and 40s. Light freeze Sunday morning, and then it turns into a pretty nice day. We'll take a closer inspection of all of this for you here in just a couple minutes. Also, we'll talk about some really warm temperatures next week. But let's get over to RJ now. Roads have been a little bit wet. Has that caused any problems?
Yeah, Justin. So we are clearing out a lot of things that we've seen over our 8 o'clock hour. That's good news, including right behind me, Loop 410 eastbound at Parambital. There was a pretty bad wreck earlier as you got up to 35, but as you see right there behind me, traffic is now moving pretty smooth in both directions there. Real quick, let's go. I wanted to update you on this real quick also because I just got off the phone with TransGuide a little while ago, and they said that metal plate that was there at I-10 westbound, the upper levels, that has been cleared out. So now we still see this strip causing still a little bit of a bump there, but you could see it has been considerably smoothed out. Now, this does not mean that construction will stop there. In fact, the Culebra exit is now closed here because they're still doing a lot of that bridge joint replacement in that area. But at least here on the upper level I-10, we have cleared that out in terms of that metal plate. Now, we still have a stalled vehicle being reported in this area, I-10 westbound at Colorado Street, causing a little bit of delays in that area there. As we go a little bit southeast of downtown, we have another crash here being reported 37 northbound at I-10. You do see that this is affecting our traffic coming into the downtown area, going out to the east side there at I-10 and 37 northbound. So now we're going to talk about closures because we have a few significant ones here this weekend. First of all, here for our drivers in the SeaWorld area, State Highway 151 at Wiseman Boulevard, that will be closed tomorrow morning. And we're also going to have the closure here from 1604 to 151. So if you are around this area, the SeaWorld area, keep this in mind. Tomorrow they are going to be doing some road work here, 151 at Wiseman, stretching all the way to 1604. And the big one that we've been talking about all morning is on the far northwest side. This is a closure of 2 of the 4 cloverleafs at the 1604 interchange there, this big expansion project that's taking place. So got a little bit of clarity from TxDOT a little while ago. So basically 1604 westbound connecting to I-10 in both directions. That's what's going to be shut down this weekend. These 2 cloverleafs here, again, 1604 westbound to both directions of I-10. There will be detours going all the way up to the rim area and going all the way to La Cantera Parkway if you are on 1604. A little bit of good news is that 1604 eastbound, that one will stay open as part of this construction, which starts tonight at 9 o'clock and goes through Monday, 5 a.m. So a lot of things to let you know about. We have all this information on KSAT.com. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
RJ, thank you very much. Well, the search for little Lena Kill continues this morning. San Antonio police have resumed a search in a wooded area on the city's northwest side, following up on a tip. It's been just over 2 years since Lena disappeared.
Our Sarah Costa is live where the search has been going on in a wooded area behind an apartment complex near Blue Mill Road and Gardendale. Sarah, what is the latest?
Good morning, Mark and Steph. Yeah, when our Katrina Weber was out here earlier and the sun hadn't come up yet, there was only one police unit watching over that spot. That is different now. There are several units behind me, a lot more people out here searching. But I do want to show you this video that our photojournalist shot earlier. So a friend of Lena's family told KSAT yesterday police needed to bring in a special piece of equipment for the search to resume today. And I'm not sure if what we are showing you now is that piece of equipment, but I did check with our Katrina Weber, who was out here earlier, and she said that crews were not using that tool yesterday during the search. Many people in the community have been following Lena Kill's disappearance case closely for more than 2 years. She was 3 at the time when she was last seen on the playground of her family's apartment complex back in December of 2021. That complex is about a mile away from here, where police are searching now. Police say they launched this latest search for her after getting a tip Wednesday that there could be evidence in this area. Pamela Allen, a local child advocate and family liaison, told KSAT that officers are searching for a body. Again, that information has not been confirmed by investigators to KSAT at this time. But as we learn more information or see anything new, we will update you on air and online. And I just saw the father of Lena Kill, along with that family liaison, just walk up onto the scene. We'll try to talk to them in just a bit. Live from the Northwest Side, I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Steph.
Sarah, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Here's today's 9 at 9.
Governor Greg Abbott will be making a visit to Eagle Pass today to hold a press conference about border security. He'll be joined by the Adjutant General of Texas and the Texas Border Czar. The conference is expected to begin at 1 this afternoon. We will have a crew there, and we'll bring you more information on air and online.
This afternoon, Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is coming to San Antonio for a meet and greet with voters. She will be at Viva Via at the historic Market Square. The event is free, but attendees must register prior to the event for a ticket. You can find the link for tickets on our website at KSAT.com.
Former President Donald Trump could learn his fate today in the civil fraud trial that threatens his real estate empire. The judge could ban him from ever doing business in New York again and could force him to pay a $370 million fine. Trump and his sons have repeatedly denied any illegal actions.
The district attorney leading the Georgia election interference case against Trump will be testifying again today. A judge is considering whether Fani Willis's romantic relationship with a prosecutor created a conflict of interest. Trump wants her removed from the case. If that happens, it could delay or potentially derail the proceedings against Trump and his co-conspirators accused of trying to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia.
Authorities say a deadly mass shooting at the end of the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade started as a personal dispute that exploded into violence. 2 juveniles are in custody, and police are working to determine if anyone else was involved. 1 person was killed and nearly 24 others injured. At least half of them were children.
Bad news for would-be home buyers. Mortgage rates are rising this week. The average 30-year loan now 6.77%, its highest level in 10 weeks. 15-year fixed-rate mortgages climbing to 6.12% from 5.9% last week. However, costs are down from late October, and most predictions put the 30-year home loan rate at around 6% by the end of the year.
Some extra post-holiday belt-tightening. Retail sales dropped more than expected in January, down 0.8%. It follows December's strong 0.4% increase from the month before. The so-called control group of sales used to gauge economic growth sliding to 0.4%. Economists had expected that figure to rise. The government report could help convince the Fed to finally start cutting interest rates.
Ozempic and Mounjaro, 2 popular diabetes medications also used for weight loss, got pricier this year. So did about 900 other brand name medications. Novo Nordisk boosted the list price of Ozempic by 3.5% to $969 for a month's supply. And Eli Lilly raised the list price of Mounjaro by 4.5% to $1,069 for a month's supply.
If you filled up your gas tank this week, you probably noticed it cost you more. The price of a gallon of gas went up 18 cents over the past week to reach an average of $2.95 a gallon here in San Antonio. The good news, it should be temporary. The increase in prices due to the shutdown of a massive refinery in Indiana. It's been offline for more than 2 weeks due to a power outage. That should be fixed soon, and then gas prices will likely go back to a more predictable pace. And that's today's 9 at 9. 9:08, 60 degrees, still ahead on GMSA at 9.
We hear from a local family who made the trip to Kansas City for the Super Bowl parade, only to have their trip ripped apart by gunfire. They share what they heard and saw that day as they were just blocks away from the shooting.
And Tiffany Huertas takes us behind the scenes as Metro Health inspectors make sure all the food stands at the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo are up to all health codes.
This Best of Mutton Busted, powered by your San Antonio area Chevy dealers.
You're all right, number one. Go find mom or dad. You'll be okay. Every day, thousands of people visit the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, and there's a team ensuring food on the grounds are safe for all visitors.
Tiffany Huertas followed Metro Health as they inspect some of this year's rodeo food.
We might want to make sure people are washing their hands, that the food is at the proper temperatures, both hot and cold.
Every day, Metro Health food inspectors visit the different booths at the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. One inspector comes in the morning and the other in the afternoon.
We look for evidence of any insects or rodents, which in this case we've not had any.
Curzel Ramos, Senior Environmental Health Officer for Metro Health, says they will also check if all the equipment is working properly.
We also haven't checked their coolers or the refrigerator units to make sure that they're operating. Occasionally what happens, a unit may go out overnight, and we want to make sure that the food in that unit is still good to be served.
When the health inspectors are here at the rodeo, they're looking for detail. Tell me about canned foods.
One of the things that we look for is for cans that may have a dent. If the can has a dent on the rim or the seam of the can, it cannot be used. Now, if it happens to have one on the side, as long as it doesn't form any kind of edge or corner to it, they're able to use it.
Metro Health says so far this year, no issues have been found. There are 80 food booths, including
Fajita Corral. We basically just raise it's 100% goes to scholarships. We just raise money for scholarships.
Deborah Jaime says they have been participating in the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo for 9 years.
We have to be ready for the inspectors at all times, so we have to have our sanitizers out, and if it's not up to date, then they let us know. We go back and we fix it. But it's a daily routine.
She welcomes the Metro Health team.
We anticipate that they come out all the time and hold us accountable if we need to be held accountable.
Although the rodeo isn't finished, Metro Health is already preparing for future events and meeting with vendors participating in Fiesta. Reporting from the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
And it is another rodeo weekend here in San Antonio.
Cold tomorrow, though, right?
It'll be a little chilly, maybe a little bit less in the way of crowds if you want to look at it that way. So maybe it's if you can withstand some gusty winds and cooler weather, it won't be bad. Sunday is going to be the nicer of the 2 days, though, this weekend. I want to show you the radar right now. We've got still some showers out there. It has been very light here across San Antonio. This morning. We have just not seen much at all. We were right on the dividing line, and that was always my concern. And then the heavier rain has been off to the south and east of us. And you see a strip of more moderate rain, and that stretches from Kennedy to Cuero and back over towards I-37. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here. And you can see Kennedy is getting in on some of the heavy rain. No lightning or anything like that, but it's just going to come down pretty heavy if you're watching there from Falls City, Karn City, or Kennedy. Runge, Yorktown, same story. Campbellton, you've gotten some pretty decent rain. But you get up here towards San Antonio, and then it's just been some sprinkles. We did have some wet roads earlier. The morning commute was a little damp. But this rain is starting to push off to the east and southeast. So I think for the most part, other than maybe a few sprinkles today, we're done with the rain. And then we'll have another small window tonight with the cold front. But that window's pretty small and it will be light as well. So we don't expect really any good numbers in our rain gauge here in San Antonio. Now down in Carson City, I did check, and that's the highest total I've seen so far, about 0.3 of an inch. And so there are some better numbers down there. Our forecast today shows cloudy skies as that rain starts to move away. And then here comes our frontal boundary. So about 8 o'clock, we may start to see a few isolated showers right along the front. And then the front pushes through, it turns windy and colder, and there will be a few showers down to the south Saturday morning. But again, nothing here in San Antonio. It just stays mostly cloudy, chilly, and windy. And it'll probably take until late on Saturday for those clouds to really kind of clear out. Wind gust forecast, those winds will slowly step up once that front comes through. So gust as high as 30 to maybe 35 by sunrise tomorrow. And you pair that with temperatures in the 40s, it's going to feel cold. Wind chill values could be in the low 30s, 7 to 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is what it feels like, that blue number there. The temperatures in white, and then the blue number represents the feels like number. And I think wind chill values will be in the 30s all the way through lunch tomorrow. So heads up, heavy jacket tomorrow morning if you're going to be out and about, or if the kiddos have any outdoor sports tomorrow morning, jackets for sure. 51 the high on Saturday. We drop down to 32 tomorrow night and into Sunday morning. The sky's clear, so that allows temperatures to drop, and then Sunday turns into a pretty nice day, 58 sunny and nice. Outside right now, 60 and cloudy. Not all that cool today. We just got the clouds, and in fact, I think we'll be up near 70 here this afternoon here in San Antonio. Upper 60s to near 70, depending on whether or not we see a little bit of sun. We haven't seen much the last couple days. Don't expect a lot today, but it's possible to see a few peaks. So 51 tomorrow, 58 Sunday. We talked about that. 68 President's Day, and then we just jump right up into spring. We've got upper 70s, close to 80 by Thursday, and morning lows start to moderate too. So it'll really be kind of just tomorrow and Sunday morning when we see those really chilly temperatures. Guys.
Justin, thank you. Community members on the Northwest Side say they are determined to make their voices heard about a proposed county park.
They were supposed to meet with County Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores yesterday to get input, but that meeting was postponed.
Avery Everett used social media to help explain the issue and shows us how you can share your opinion too.
Have you heard of the county park that's dividing the Northwest Side community? The Bexar County Precinct 1 Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores has been pushing for this project since she helped secure about $3 million in the county budget to build this proposed park near the Hilltop Acres neighborhood. The commissioner was supposed to have 2 community input meetings, but she postponed the second one to wait for a feasibility study. At that first meeting, the community was divided. People in favor say they need a park for this community.
I have 2 children, and there's many residents here in the area with children. I think that could benefit from a park.
But people opposed say they don't want it in this neighborhood.
We do not want the homeless. We do not want the crime that is going to go along with having a walking trail.
Both sides have started petitions to keep this discussion going, and the county is also accepting feedback. But we want to hear back from you directly. What do you want this park to go? And do you even want it in your neighborhood? Leave us a comment on Facebook or Instagram.
Right now, 919, 60 degrees.
So if you saw our show yesterday, you may remember Lee Waldman talking about this story, a unique approach for gun reform to try and get Congress to listen. Lee shares some of the recordings from those who lost their lives to gun violence after artificial intelligence was used to recreate their voices.
923, we've been talking about the Kansas City parade shooting since it happened, but now we're hearing from a local family who was there.
They spoke to John Paul Barajas, and they told him while they were a few blocks away from where the shooting happened, it's still taking time to process everything.
From championship celebration to chaos. This was a scene after shots were fired at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade Wednesday. 1 person killed and 22 others hurt.
Lots of sirens going everywhere, and we couldn't really tell where the sirens were going. There were people crying on the street. That's where it started to hit the magnitude of what just happened.
Mariana Sanchez and her family made the trip from San Antonio to Kansas City.
Justin is up there, has the sign ready to go.
Her 11-year-old son Justin's sign says it all. Tumor removed, traveled 800 miles, all in for the Chiefs. Hashtag dream come true.
My husband and I had a conversation hey, This has been a really difficult year for Justin, for our family. Let's try and make this happen for him. Let's try and bring a positive experience to this.
The parade started just as the Sanchez family hoped.
It was amazing. I was very excited.
Talk to me about being a Chiefs fan. What made you want to go with them?
In 4th grade, I just chose a random team.
Seems like you chose the right one.
Yeah, I think I did.
From playing catch in the crowd to being pulled on stage in front of a sea of Chiefs fans.
I was going to look at the video that he just took, and I saw a flood of texts.
The family didn't hear the gunfire over the music, but Mariana says they were just a few blocks away.
I'm okay, just still processing about it. Just thinking about everything that happened.
Now the Sanchez family says they want to be a part of the Kansas City healing process.
That was our John Paul Brajas reporting. Now, on the heels of that shooting up in Kansas City, a campaign for gun reform is taking a very unique approach.
Families who have lost loved ones to gun violence are using artificial intelligence to recreate their voices. Some of those are recreations of the voices of children who were killed at Robb Elementary in Uvalde.
That's right. The recordings may be tough to hear, but we think it's important message to share. And as Lee Waldman reports, the people behind this project hope Congress will actually listen.
Hi, this is Uzi Garcia.
His voice sounds exactly as it did in life.
I'm a 4th grader at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Or at least I was.
Nearly 2 years after Uzziah Garcia was silenced by an 18-year-old armed with an AR-15.
Nothing has changed. Even more shootings have happened. That's why my family recreated my voice using AI to call you today.
Brett Cross, Uzziah's guardian, is working with gun violence reform organizations, Change the Ref and March for Our Lives, for a new campaign, The Shot Line.
These politicians, they'll try to ignore us. They get tired of hearing our voice. Maybe they'll listen to his voice.
Cross and the families of 5 other gun violence victims used artificial intelligence to recreate the voices taken to call on elected leaders.
Because our stories need to be heard, and who better to tell them than us?
But we can't do this alone. So we created the Shot Line.
The website works by typing in your zip code and clicking on a representative to forward one of the recorded calls to. Their goal, to inspire changes to gun laws to keep shootings like what happened in Kansas City from continuing to happen.
This is America. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when.
Lee Waldman, KSAT 12 News.
Those involved in the campaign hope to have other families who have been impacted by gun violence join the campaign as well. We have a link to the Shot Line campaign on our website at KSAT.com.
Time right now, 9:27, 61 degrees.
And we have to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back.
Investigators have continued to search a wooded area on San Antonio's northwest side in connection to the disappearance of Lena Kill that happened more than 2 years ago.
This after a tip from earlier this week pointed San Antonio police to that area behind an apartment complex near Blue Mill Road and Gardendale.
And that is where we find Sarah Costa live now. And Sarah, we understand you just talked to a family representative?
Yes, that family representative is Pamela Allen. She is here now along with Lena's father, who is also here. And we did speak with her. She told us that that piece of equipment that we saw earlier, that we showed you earlier, is the piece of equipment that investigators were waiting on yesterday. And it's some kind of equipment that detects things underground. I'm going to show you video of that now. So that equipment was brought out today. We also saw them taking shovels to a certain area in the back by the woods. We don't know what they are digging. Allen told us she believes they are searching for Lena's body. Now, many people in the community have been following Lena Kill's disappearance case closely for more than 2 years. She was 3 at the time when she was last seen on the playground of her family's apartment complex back in December of 2021. That complex is about a mile away from here, and this is where police are searching now. Now, Allen told us that investigators have not been updating the family or giving them much information, and it has been frustrating for them.
Does the family feel like they've been left in the dark at this point? Like,
absolutely.
Hearing these things on social media and not from investigators, that's got to be frustrating for
We
them.
learn a lot of things on social media. Dad searches the internet when there's roundups of traffickers and offenders, and their pictures are posted everywhere. You know, he's he takes pictures of that and sends it to me and sends it to the detectives. And it's like, did you ask them about Lena?
So police say they launched this latest search for her after getting a tip Wednesday that there could be evidence in this area. As for whether or not they are searching for Lena's body in this area, has not been confirmed by investigators. It is Pamela Allen, the representative of the family, who does believe that they are searching for Lena's body in this area right behind me. Again, we are waiting for updates from investigators at this time, but coming up at noon, you'll hear more from Pamela Allen, from the family, and their frustrations on this case. Live from the Northwest Side, I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Steph.
Thank you, Sarah.
It looked like they are using what looks like what's called a portable GPR, ground penetrating radar. I've seen that in some other coverage. All right, thank you very much, Sarah. Let's go out to the airport right now. Looks like clouds are trying to break a little bit, but do we still have an overcast sky generally?
We do, Mark, and part of that is because we have multiple layers of clouds. So we have some of those low clouds, but a lot of high clouds, a lot of high-level Pacific moisture streaming overhead. And that's what's allowed for some of this light shower activity to take place. I want to show you a picture, great picture. This was sent in by Pink Ninja, and that shows you sort of those multiple layers of clouds. You can see the lower clouds there on the bottom and then the higher clouds up top. Makes for kind of a cool scene. But yes, multiple layers going on today, and that's going to keep things fairly overcast today and tomorrow for that matter. As you look outside once again, temperatures sitting at 61 degrees at the airport in New Braunfels, 57 Bernie, 59 in Kerrville. We've got a light southerly wind at this point. There is the rain. It has, for the most part, stayed south and east of San Antonio. We have seen some light rain. It did see some light rain earlier around San Antonio, but the more moderate rain continues to spread from Carson City over to Cuero this morning. And there are some heavier pockets mixed in there. But you can kind of see where the heaviest of the rain has fallen, and that's sort of where that green strip is there, Kennedy up towards Cuero, up to maybe 2/10 of an inch, 3/10 of an inch of rain total. So not huge numbers, but that's where the better rainfall has been falling so far this morning. 65 noontime. We'll keep in a very small chance of rain today. I think for the most part, it's just cloudy to mostly cloudy here in San Antonio. 70 is our high. But boy, do things change tonight. We get a cold front end. That arrives right around 10 p.m., turning colder and windy by tomorrow. We'll have a look at wind chills, what you can expect tomorrow morning, coming up in just a couple minutes.
See you in a bit. Thank you, Justin. February is the month dedicated to honor and celebrate Black history. But to do that, that history has to be preserved.
And those stories have to be told. In the latest Case It Explains, Myra Arthur shares the ways the stories of the local Black community are being shared and remembered right here in San Antonio.
This cover right here, it features T.C. Calvert, Sr., and at the time, City Council person Sheila McNeil. That was back in 2005. I am Wasim Ali, and I am the owner of the San Antonio Observer, an African-American publication founded in 1995 by my father, Hussein Ali. These are old covers that we did that were, pretty prominent at the time. We pride ourselves on being the pulse beat of the community, being in tune with the African-American community.
Does this mean it's a publication just for African Americans?
That's always been a myth, and that's why I'm glad. That's actually a good question. This is a African American publication because it's owned by myself, and the content is basically centered around African American issues, but it's designed for everybody to be able to pick it up and read. It's important that people who don't look like me are interested in the things that are happening in this community. That's how you bring about change, the exchanging of ideas and understanding where the other side is coming from. This used to be a working garage. Back in 1995, you walk in here, there was a long table along the wall, and everybody had their desk and their station. It looked more like a newsroom, even though it was in a garage. Now, we're in a digital age, so everything is done via computer.
You talked about how the paper has chronicled local Black history.
Yes.
But it's part of it as well, the paper itself.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Every week is a snapshot in time for the city of San Antonio as to what's happening in the city. Every week for us is Black history. right? You know, and my father, his idea was, we're gonna be like the New York Post. The way we were gonna get everybody's attention, we're gonna come with these hard-hitting covers that just grab your attention. Being able to understand the plight of the African-American community and what's actually going on and affecting the African-American community. We take that as a huge responsibility.
Like this evening, we'll have an opening for this art exhibition. And then tomorrow night, we start with the play. It's Cassandra Parker Nowicki, and I'm the executive director of The Carver. The Carver is a multidisciplinary, multicultural performing and visual arts center. So we celebrate the diverse cultures of our local, national, and global community through the arts. But we do have an emphasis on celebrating the art forms and artistic expressions of the Black community. We present or exhibit rather mostly local artists in this space.
This was a place for the Black community when they weren't allowed in other spaces.
Exactly. So these are some of the original photographs from the library.
Okay, so there is something written above these doors.
It reads the colored branch of the San Antonio Library and Auditorium. So that is what the building was named and dedicated as in 1929. It's really important for us to be true to our history and the reason that we exist. Just all of the great legends, right? So Ella Fitzgerald, Dizzy Gillespie, Louis Armstrong, you name them, they've probably performed here on this stage.
What do you think that means for people who live in this community to know that this space still exists in a different form and for different purposes, but a space with that rich history is still up and running?
I think it's really important, and that gets affirmed every day. We, want to celebrate the diversity of our city, but we also want to be sure that those individuals in the community who haven't historically seen themselves represented on stages or in galleries have that opportunity here.
G.J. Starnes, he's the first African-American surgeon here in San Antonio.
In 1884?
Yes.
Wow.
My name is Taylor Foots, and I'm the exhibit space supervisor for SACAM. We are a nonprofit organization that is focused on collecting, preserving, and sharing African-American history and culture from the South Texas region.
Are there any specific moments, people in local San Antonio Black history that you think aren't as known as they should be?
Well, I have a favorite story that I've learned just from working here that I feel like isn't well enough known, and that's the story of Hattie Briscoe. She was a teacher here in San Antonio, a beloved teacher who was unjustly fired from Phyllis Wheatley High School, and because of that, she decides to become a lawyer and ends up being the first Black female graduate from St. Mary's Law School and the only Black female attorney in Bexar County for about 30 years. This building is currently 715 square feet, and we'll be moving into a building that's 103,000 square feet, so quite the jump. Our archive team goes out to different places around the city, churches, senior centers, different cultural events, and they collect the stories of people who are in attendance of those.
Photos, yes. Articles they have.
Yeah. Family artifacts, anything, recipes, memories, anything that they have, it's all important. Mary Lillian Andrews, she's a 17-year-old activist, really helps to desegregate lunch counters here in San Antonio. When you don't know your history, or it's lost or overlooked, and you don't feel, I think, a desire to aspire to something greater. All you have is what you see around you, and when you know your history, you know what you can overcome and you know what you can achieve.
And to check out all of our KSAT Explained stories, you can scan this QR code on your screen right now with your phone. Every episode explains a different topic, and you can watch them all on the KSAT YouTube page, KSAT.com, and the KSAT Plus app.
Yeah, go check out all the work we've done. There's some interesting topics in there.
Yes, there is. Worth the watch.
Right now, 9:42 on your Friday morning. You're watching GMSA at 9.
We'll be right back.
According to our weather team, yes, Justin, I'm looking at you, our last average freeze is coming up soon, February 24th. So next week might be a good time to start cleaning up your garden and getting your soil ready. You can start planting very soon.
Yeah, maybe. So we say next week because we are expecting a light freeze this weekend, but Justin's going to have all those details coming up in just a few minutes. But before that, our Sarah Costa will show us how to get your garden beds ready for planting season in this latest edition of Gardening with KSAT.
Does your garden look sad like this? Let's turn it into this. So here's what you need. Some of my favorite garden tools that I use all the time include my handy spade, my pruner, loppers, mini electric trimmers, and electric weed eater. For any additional tools I need, I head over to Rainbow Gardens. I'm in desperate need of new pruners. I also use my tiller all the time, especially when making new beds. Plus, if I can put this together, anybody can. When you prune back your dead native perennials, or in my case, need to use a weed eater, don't be afraid to get in there. When in doubt, most native perennials can be pruned down to the ground or leave 3 to 6 inches, especially if they are woody like lantana or certain salvias.
Let's talk soil. Good soil means a great garden.
Add a quality compost. I like to get mine from Rainbow Gardens, like Nature's Creation Organic Compost, Fox Farm Happy Frog Soil Conditioner, or Landscaper's Pride Mushroom Compost. You want to prep your soil 2 to 3 weeks before planting, and right now would be a great time to add compost to existing beds. If you are making new beds, till up native soil at least a foot or so into the ground, then add about 3 inches of compost.
For new beds, make sure you're planting in an area that gets plenty of sun. Happy gardening. I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
And if we go into our break room at the front of the building here at KSAT, we get to look right out and see her garden and the work that's happening.
A lot of work being put into it.
I saw her working yesterday.
Yeah, it's going to look nice once it all comes together. And hopefully growing season goes well for us. We can use a little bit more rain.
Yeah.
Obviously, freezes are always the big question. I can tell you we have a light freeze coming up this Sunday. Beyond that, it's hard to say. We've seen freezes as late as April. So you got to keep that in mind. But generally, our average freeze is February 24th, as Sarah said. So let's go take a look at the radar. There is some welcome rain falling across parts of the area down to the south and east of San Antonio. Most of this is really light rain, maybe a little bit more moderate rain, as we've been talking about. Just right there in that little strip from Cuero, now moving east towards the Wharton area. But it is, by and large, moving out of San Antonio. We did have a fairly damp commute downtown and points south this morning, but any sort of light rain is now shifting east and southeast of us. A little closer look at places like Yorktown and Cuero. That's where you're getting the more moderate rain. It's coming down at a pretty good clip. Again, we picked up about 0.3 of an inch at last check underneath some of this heavier rain, and I think that up to ½ an inch is possible. Places like Runge, Yorktown, Cuero, maybe down towards Victoria. It's just not in the cards here in San Antonio. And as we look at the forecast, that rain does continue to push east and southeast. So by noontime, we're just cloudy. Most of us here across South Texas, just cloudy. 5 o'clock, pretty quiet evening. Here comes our front, though. And by 8 o'clock, starting to move into Bexar County probably. And along the front, we could see a couple of isolated showers. Not a big deal. I think this is low impact stuff. Won't produce much rain. But what you will notice are the gusty winds. They'll really start to kick in. We'll see gusts 30 to 35 overnight tonight, and especially as we get into Saturday morning. That's when the winds really start to howl. And it'll be windy for the first half of the day on Saturday. Still a few showers to our south, but again, a dry forecast with just clouds for most of the day, which, by the way, will keep temperatures down tomorrow. So here's kind of the timing with the front. We think it'll be into the hill country 5 to 7 p.m. San Antonio sometime between 8 and 10, and then pushing through our southern counties by around midnight. We talked about the wind, cool down. Winds will provide for wind chill values in the 30s tomorrow morning. And as far as rain goes, low odds. It'll be brief if we see anything at all, 20% chance of rain. So let's talk about the futurecast winds here. This is midnight. We're getting gusts 30, close to 30 here in San Antonio. And then by tomorrow morning, peaking maybe 35 miles per hour. This is 7 a.m. and this is going to be area-wide. Everyone's going to get this strong northerly wind. It'll take until the afternoon for these winds to start to calm. Midday, it's still windy, but by 5 o'clock, more in the range of 15 to 20 with those gusts, and then the winds will finally calm down as we head into Sunday morning, which will allow for those really cold temperatures. As you head out the door tomorrow morning, know that with those gusty winds, this is what it will feel like. 34 here in San Antonio, 24 Bernie, it'll feel like 23 in Kerrville. This is the wind chill at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And yes, it'll feel a little bit more like winter out there to start your Saturday. 61 though right now, cloudy, dew point 56, west-southwesterly winds at 8. In the forecast today, temperatures stay fairly warm. We'll keep it a very, very small chance of rain, but for the most part, cloudy to mostly cloudy, and we make our way up to 70 today before that cold front moves in tonight and knocks those temperatures down. So let's put it all together here in the 7-day forecast. 51 tomorrow, that's the change. Wind chills will be in the 40s most of the day tomorrow. 58 Sunday after starting off at 32, so there's your light freeze. President's Day, 68. From there, we moderate. Now, that looks like spring weather, some good growing weather. Wednesday, Thursday with highs near 80. Rain stays out of the extended forecast for now.
Okay. Wow, that is all over the place.
It really is. Saturday's jacket weather, but beyond that, and certainly Sunday morning, but beyond that, you can probably start to put the jackets up for a while.
Okay. Yeah. Nice overall. Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
9:51, 61 degrees.
Let's look out there with Zoo Cam. This is our crane cams. It's always a great day to go to the zoo. Oh, I see. You see the crane? Mm-hmm. All right.
Very top near the tree and about to disappear behind the trunk.
It's also going to be a great weekend to go to the zoo. That's because the zoo is offering $8 tickets to locals this weekend. We have all that information on our website at KSAT.com.
Congratulations to 3 area high school students who were selected for a prestigious leadership program that will take place next week at the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. From left to right, we have Maya Galvan from Piper High School, Storm Pena from Davenport High School, and Sophia Krumholtz from Johnson High School. They were selected among 10 total students from across the country to participate in this 5-day intensive experience. You can read more about this huge achievement on KSAT.com. But again, congrats to Maya, Storm, and Sophia.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And another San Antonio area school district is going to a 4-day school week. Bandera ISD trustees approved the change in the district's 2024-2025 calendar earlier this week. Students and teachers will have Fridays off with the exception of some teacher work days. And Bandera is one of several Texas school districts making the change.
We hope you have a great weekend. Thanks so much for watching.
Yeah, happy Friday. Bye, guys.